up guys, it's Banu here from AndroDollar.com. This is Xiaomi's Mi 11 Lite, a new smartphone from Xiaomi that was recently introduced to the market, to the mid-range segment, and I've been using this smartphone daily for a couple of days now, and now I'm ready to share with you guys my full review about this smartphone when it comes to the display, the cameras, the battery life, gaming performance and all of that in this video. If you guys are new to my channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button right now and let's get started with today's video. Before we get started with my full review of the Mi 11 Lite, I want to remind you guys that my unboxing as well as initial hands-on impressions video is also available on my channel if you guys want to check that out. In that video, I talk mainly about the specs. This video is mainly based on my usage of this phone and my experience with the Mi 11 Lite. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the Mi 11 Lite, the good, bad and whether you should go ahead and buy this. The first thing I want to share with you guys about the Mi 11 Lite is its slim design. It's really slim. I've been using a lot of flagship smartphones recently and testing most of those devices, and it gets quite big and bulky, and it's heavy as well because it packs the latest hardware, cutting edge hardware, and on top of that a huge battery to power all of that. But this device on the other hand, I think has a decent enough balance between both of it. This device has a good chipset in the mid-range and still has a pretty premium looking design that's quite slim. You really feel it when you take the phone to your hand and start using it. I really enjoyed the frosted glass design at the back of this phone, and since I have the pink color unit over here, it didn't really absorb much fingerprints. I'm really not sure how well the black color or the blue color variant will absorb fingerprints, but here on the pink color version, it's doing a pretty good job and it has that frosted design. So if you really use the TPU cover that comes inside the box, at least it will look pretty nice. On top of this premium design, the Mi 11 Lite also has a IP53 rating, so that means this phone is splash resistant. Definitely not water resistant like a flagship smartphone. So you have IP53 splash resistance, so if you just get a little bit of water on this device, I think it should be fine. I personally didn't go to test that one out because I didn't want to break my review unit over here so that I won't be able to bring you guys the video. But I'm just letting you guys know that that is also there, so you can worry a little bit less if you get some water on it. Talking about my experience with the display on the Mi 11 Lite, it has a 6.55-inch Full HD AMOLED screen with a 90Hz refresh rate. The front of the display is protected by Gorilla Glass 5 and not Gorilla Glass 6. This display is also HDR10 compatible, and in the time that I was using this phone, I really didn't have much to complain about the display. Most of the time, the phone felt quite smooth during day-to-day operations with the 90Hz refresh rate. But remember that the 90Hz refresh rate doesn't come turned on by default, so you need to go into settings under display. You need to enable the 90Hz refresh rate to get that. I tested out the display in both indoor conditions as well as outdoor conditions, and I didn't really face much of an issue when it comes to the brightness of the display as well as the colors. The display looked quite good and it was sufficiently bright. The Mi 11 Lite has a 240Hz touch refresh rate and it was overall good in the time that I was using this phone. I've been using the Mi 11 Lite with MIUI 12. It's a feature-packed version here on the Mi 11 Lite with a lot of great additions that are packed into this phone. When it comes to the software, it's good that little things like even a screen recorder are built into the phone. Now more than ever, it looks and feels so much more like iOS. Even you can go ahead and change the control center to look quite like iOS. There were a bunch of pre-installed apps as well as games. I got rid of some of them and kept some, as well as installed most of the Google applications that I use on a day-to-day basis, as well as other apps and games to overall test out this smartphone. Other than a few hiccups here and there, the Snapdragon 732G chipset overall performed really well on this phone. Something that I really noticed while playing a lot of games on this phone is that it really gets a bit too warm to the touch. Again, that also might be because of the super slim design here on the Mi 11 Lite, but I thought I should let you guys know about it. When it came to security, it was a breeze to use this phone with the side-mounted fingerprint scanner as well as the face unlock functionality built into this phone. For the face unlocking, you can add up to 2 faces if you want on the Mi 11 Lite. The model that I have over here has 6GB of RAM as well as 128GB of internal storage like I showed in my unboxing video, and that was quite sufficient for me because most of the music apps that I use as well as video streaming services that I use with YouTube, Netflix and all of that, it's all in the cloud, so I really don't carry much files in my phone. But when it came to the footage that I had, it was mostly the photos as well as videos that I captured as well as the games that I had installed on this phone. So overall, during the time that I was using this phone, that 128GB was sufficient for me. When it came to gaming, I tested out a couple of games. Some games that were pre-installed on this phone and some games that I installed from the Play Store. Like F1 worked well on this phone. The games that are optimized for 90Hz refresh rate like Critical Ops also worked really well on this phone and provided an overall really good experience. When the game was too intensive and the graphics were on high settings, it was a bit too much. I noticed that the phone got quite warm and there were quite a lot of frame drops. But if you just casually play a couple of games here and there, and most of it are just lightweight games, then I think the Mi 11 Lite will be ideal for you. Now talking about the camera experience, on the Mi 11 Lite we have a 64MP primary camera, a 8MP ultra wide angle camera, and overall in my testing it did a pretty decent job. The daylight photos look quite okay, but I believe the dynamic range on these photos could have been a little bit better. Like most of the other smartphones, even flagship level smartphones, I noticed some inconsistencies between the ultra wide angle camera as well as the primary camera. So if you really want the best looking photo, you really have to use the primary camera even on this phone. But something that I really enjoyed on the Mi 11 Lite was how many features that were packed into this phone when it came to the camera. There are so many modes, from a pro mode to portrait mode to a night mode to a slow motion mode, time-lapse mode and even a vlog mode. Now let me share with you guys some of the camera samples that I shot with the Mi 11 Lite in the time that I was testing this phone so that you can really judge the camera performance of this phone. Now moving on to video mode, there's also a steady video mode built into the Mi 11 Lite and I tested it out and it did a decent job, and here are some video samples that I shot with the Mi 11 Lite. This is a video recording from the ultra wide angle camera of the Mi 11 Lite. This is a video recording from the wide angle camera of the Mi 11 Lite. This is a video recording with the 2x zoom mode on the Mi 11 Lite. The Mi 11 Lite also has a dual video mode, so using this feature you can record from both the front facing camera as well as the rear facing cameras over here. So since I'm at the beach, from the rear facing camera you can see the beach over here, and from the front facing camera you can see myself. Time-lapse mode is also something that Xiaomi has enhanced on this phone, and I tested that out as well. So here's a sample for you to see. So far, if you found this video insightful and if you appreciate the time that I took to test out this phone, definitely go ahead and smash that subscribe button right now for more reviews just like this from Andro Dollar in the future. Now let's talk about the battery life of the Mi 11 Lite. In the time that I was using this smartphone with its 4250 mAh battery, I think the Mi 11 Lite did a decent job when it came to overall preserving the power of the smartphone till the end of the day. Most of the days I charged it in the morning, and by around 11 in the night, most of the days the battery was down to around 20%. So for my kind of usage, I think that was quite decent. And with the 33 watt fast charging, I was able to get this phone from 0 to 100% in a little bit over 1 hour. If you're really interested in a phone that has a lot of features packed into it, this phone really does that. It has a lot of features when it comes to the functionalities of MIUI, as well as when it comes to the camera, as well as the video mode. There are a lot of features that Xiaomi has truly built into this phone so that you can really enjoy. Another thing that I really appreciate on the Mi 11 Lite is this IR blaster that we have at the top. It's a very rare feature nowadays, but I really want to appreciate Xiaomi for still retaining that here on this phone. So you can use this to control your AC or your TV, or you can put all of that onto your phone and control it using that. It's pretty convenient if whatever product you're using is supported by it. So it's really great to have that here at the top. Even though the 3.5mm headphone jack is not to be found, mainly due to this really slim design on the Mi 11 Lite, Xiaomi puts in the adapter in the box, so I really had nothing to complain about. The adapter is a USB Type-C to 3.5mm jack. Personally, I was using Bluetooth headphones in the time that I was using this phone, so that wasn't really breaking my experience anyway. But if you want it, it's there for you to use. And I also like that this phone also packs a USB Type-C port at the bottom, so it's very easy for me to find a charger nowadays. Most of my gadgets that I have are having USB Type-C, so I can use that single cable to charge it all up. So it's a good move by Xiaomi to add in that USB Type-C port to this as well. So now let's get into the verdict. Should you go ahead and buy this smartphone for 61,999 Sri Lankan rupees right here in Sri Lanka? That's what you all want to know, right? Well, if you're focusing mainly on the design of the device as well as an overall smartphone that performs well and a decent camera and a phone with a good display, then I think the Mi 11 Lite is definitely a device you should check out. If it's possible, I personally would recommend you to go to a shop and get this device to your hand and try it out, because it's a very lightweight phone that really catches your attention at first glance. It's not something you will really feel it until you really get this phone to your hand, because I'm sure this 157-gram Mi 11 Lite will surely impress you when it comes to the overall form factor. And let's not forget, the Mi 11 Lite also brings in respectable performance at this price range. So if you're looking for a good mid-range smartphone, this might be something that you can truly consider. So if you watch my full video from start to finish, by now you really understand whether this phone is worth it or not. If you have any more questions that you want to clarify, go ahead and drop a comment down below, and I'll be sure to answer all of your questions down below in the comment section as well. Well guys, with that we come to the end of my full review of the new Mi 11 Lite. I hope you guys found this video informative. If you did, definitely share this video with your friends and support the channel as well. And definitely stick around for more reviews just like this, dropping right here on Andro Dollar. You can go ahead and check out some of my previous videos as well. Go to my channel and check them out. So with all of that being said, until I see you guys in my next video, this is Banu signing out.